I cannot believe this as Canada's big-time players do big-time things as Canada looks to advance to the Four Nations Faceoff final. All that more today on Oilers Digest as we recap that game and especially the magic from Connor McDavid. But before that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, folks, make sure you do so. If you're part of the 21% that have subscribed to the channel, I'd like to thank each and every one of you. But folks, if you're part of the 79.1% who have not yet subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button down below for any and all Oiler content, as yes, we are coming up to the end of the Four Nations Face-Off, and finally Oilers hockey is back on Saturday afternoon, but we still have some business to take care of. With crisis averted, yes, heading into today's game against Team Finland, Team Canada, and head coach Jon Cooper decided to switch up the lines and give Connor McDavid some real wingers, as he has Braden Point to his left and Mark Stone to his right, demoting Sam Reinhart and Mitch Marner to the right wings of the second and third line, creating a bit of a more balanced lineup for Team Canada, one that, I really have no complaints with. Nice balanced up and down the lineup there with a Team Canada best-on-best team. It should be balanced from top to bottom instead of a top-heavy team, but Team Canada got the win today, 5-3 at the expense of almost blowing a 4-0 lead as Connor McDavid opened up the scoring this afternoon, followed by goals from Nathan MacKinnon, 2 goals from Nathan MacKinnon, and Braden Point, with Connor McDavid getting 2 points this afternoon against Team Finland. All looks said and done here for Team Finland, down 4-0. UC Saros came in relief for Kevin Lankinen, and Finland storming all the way back, making it 4-3 Canada with a minute and a bit left to go in the third period, with goals from Esa Lindell breaking the shutout of Jordan Binnington, and then 2 goals from Mikael Granlund there, making it 4-3 until Sidney Crosby decided he had enough of this monkey business and laid a hit on Mikael Granlund and got the empty netter from center ice there, making it 5-3 Canada. And Crosby, he's been down this road before. He's been in tough situations with Team Canada, and like I said, he had enough of this and put the game away all by himself. Sidney Crosby doing Sidney Crosby things. 37 years old, but man, is he ageless. And Jon Cooper had his thoughts on the resiliency of Team Finland after the game. He said, the one thing that strikes me is just how disciplined they are. They can frustrate you. That's what you have to fight through. Games against them are always, almost always close. Suddenly gets down to the last 5 minutes and it is tied. The Finns, you have to marvel at. You go to any tournament and they are the ones who are disrespected until they are in the final. We have to play the whole game like it is tied with 5 minutes left. And, of course, like we saw with the Finland-Sweden game, of course, Finland not backing down from the Swedes. The Finland-U.S. game, of course, it was 2-1 USA before, the Americans did, run away with it. But Finland playing all three teams this tournament very, very hard when it comes to, the roster breakdown of Team Finland compared to the other 3 countries. You cannot underestimate them by any point. But Jon Cooper, he was happy with the way his team played today. He said, I thought we played extremely well. The way we manage the puck, you get the best players in the world doing things they're probably not accustomed to, and for the benefit of our team winning hockey games. It's a 200-foot game. You got McDavid, MacKinnon, Crosby, and all these guys dumping pucks and going to get them. It was the way we needed to play to win this game, and we did it, of course. The role players on this team being shoehorned into roles that, they're not necessarily used to on the regular NHL teams, but all in the name of Canada and these guys, gelling together or trying to gel together in a very short span of time. But just looking at the game stats here, 28-26 in favor of Team Canada. Of course, when it comes down to, the box score, it was 4-0 Canada at one point, but very, very close. Only one penalty called all game, a slash on Devon Toews. Other than that, pretty clean game, of course, on the international stage compared to Saturday night against the United States. But Canada in Finland, always a classic one here, and of course very, very close. And when it comes to the analytics here, 1.92 expected goals for Canada, so it could have been completely opposite here for Finland if Kevin Lankinen didn't let in a few softies there. Of course, there were some good shots here from Canada, but very, very savable there. But of course, when it comes to the analytics, Canada taking the edge on most of them, except for the high danger chances, Finland taking that one 10-6. But of course, the expected goals Team Canada 1.92, it would have been a lot higher. Of course, comparing their team to the, I don't want to say lack of star power on the Finland defensive core, but of course, Finland, always a pesky team to play against. But when it comes to the expected goals here, McDavid, Point, and Stone, that line shined the entire afternoon 5-on-5. Sure, Mark Stone looked like he was a step behind, but you know what? He was a lot better than Mitch Marner on that right side, let me tell you. But of course, the Crosby and McKinnon line, also fantastic there. And then, of course, I do have to give Mitch Marner, his flowers there on the third line with Hagel in Sorelli. But, when you put him into the bright lights on the big stage, he seems to disappear. So you have to tuck him away in the bottom six, or at least fans. But just looking here again at more advanced stats here, of course, the Corsi for percentage a lot better than what it was on Saturday. There, you got 72% from Mitch Marner. You have 60% from Mark Stone, Connor McDavid, and Braden Point. I highlighted that line because again, I thought that was Canada's best line of the entire game, and nobody got over more than 20 minutes time on ice other than Devon Toews and Cale Makar. So John Cooper sort of, balancing all the lines when it came to time on ice there. But again, 5-on-5, Canada dominated. It came down to, them having a small breakdown in the final 6 minutes of the third period there, when, of course, sure, Jordan Binnington had a fantastic opening 40 minutes, but again, just a breakdown there that had Canada worrying there by the end of the game, going, okay, what do we really have in net here with Jordan Binnington? Of course, many thought that John Cooper was going with Aiden Hill between the pipes this afternoon, but he went with his workhorse, Jordan Binnington, between the pipes. And I got to give Binnington his flowers. He had a really nice stop, and I do believe it was Mikko Rantanen or Mikael Granlund in the first period there, a nice shoulder save. But other than that, all three goals easily savable. The first one, the Lindell goal, very, very weak angle shot, and then the other two, just Binnington flopping all over the place. But you know what? All that matters in the end is the W, and looking forward to what is next for Team Canada. But when it comes to Connor McDavid, no player had the puck on their stick more than he did in the offensive zone. 48 seconds, according to Sportlogic. And for as good as he was there, he was also dominant in the other parts of the ice, registering the most controlled zone exits for either team with 11, and owning the neutral zone with the speed and skill that defines his game. And even Sidney Crosby, the passing of the torch to Connor McDavid, as much as I hate to say, Sidney Crosby, as, he kind of looks a bit aged there, 37 years old, makes me feel old. I saw him roof the backhand on Jose Theodore in November 2005, and I was just a little kid, but seeing Sidney Crosby in the twilight of his career really makes you feel something. But when it comes to the passing of the torch with McDavid, he said obviously today, a big game like this, to come out the way he did, he's vocal sometimes as well, but he understands he's a guy that we all look to, whether it's with his play or his words. He's there to lead, and folks, Connor McDavid is there to lead as Canada does book their spot into the Four Nations Faceoff final with our What's Next segment. And what is next for Team Canada? I think we all know what's next for Team Canada. The historic rematch here against the Americans at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, 7 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Mountain, Thursday. So we still have a ways to go before the final of this tournament, but I mean, the tension cannot get any higher between these two countries, and we all know what happened last time these two met in the final of a tournament. I mean, could we see a little more Sidney Crosby magic? Who knows? But in the other game today, Sweden and the USA, lots of storylines coming into this one when it comes to the roster breakdown here for Team Sweden. Earlier this morning, Daily Faceoff said it looks like Leo Carlsson and Rasmus Andersson will make their tournament debuts for Team Sweden. Victor Arvidsson and Mattias Ekholm do look like the healthy scratches. Of course, Mattias Ekholm, he had a really good game against Canada. Not a stellar game against the Finnish team on Saturday, but it all looked over for their tournaments until Ellie Friedman, during the Team Sweden warm-up, said Arvidsson and Ekholm, who were extras this morning, are now taking warm-ups, as he mentioned that Sweden does have flu issues. Sam Ersson of the Philadelphia Flyers is starting for Team Sweden tonight, and no Rickard Rakell or Mika Zibanejad. So lots of drama coming out of this one, which seems to be, I hate to say it, but a meaningless game unless it's for, national pride. Hopefully Sweden does beat the brakes off of the Americans and halt their momentum heading into Thursday, but as nice as it would be to, see Matisse Ekholm in Arvidsson represent their country, the rest for them would be much nicer, as I think Team Sweden banked on the Oilers having another long playoff run, and those two at the top of the game would be, extremely monumental to the Oilers on their way to the Stanley Cup. But that is it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments about today's game and your thoughts about the rematch on Thursday against the United States. Of course, we will have lots of coverage for that coming to you throughout the week. Game preview, game recap, everything in between for the Four Nations Faceoff final. It should be a fantastic one. Of course, lots of storylines, lots of drama, but that is it for today's video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, folks. Take care. Have a good week. I'm Matt.